prawn cutlets. They're so addictive, and I think it's because they've got that beautiful crunchy coating. So I'm going to make you some prawn cutlets with some panko crumbs, fry them in some olive oil so we get that lovely flavour, and I'll serve it with some crushed peas. A little bit of an English style twist to these. So for the prawn cutlets, I've just peeled some green prawns and I've deveined them and taken the head off. I like to leave the tail intact because I think it's lovely for presentation. Now, to make this into a prawn cutlet, I need to butterfly these prawns. So just at the spine of the prawn, open it up and then cut it open a little more. Now, when you're doing this, just ensure that you don't take the knife all the way through the flesh, because what we're wanting is to open them up but not entirely flatten them out. Just like that. Okay, now let's get on to our production line. The last thing we need is our crumbs. I'm using panko crumbs for this because they're super dry and they're crunchy. You can get panko crumbs from all your supermarkets. Now we need some eggs, 2 eggs, and I'll crack them into a shallow bowl, just like this. 1 and 2. And then I'll give that a quick mix just to break up those yolks and the egg whites. You can add a little water to this or some milk to loosen it up. I'm just going to keep it as is. And now for some flour, good old plain flour. Now I'm going to season this flour with a good pinch of salt. And I like to use white pepper for this, just so you don't see the colour, but we do get the taste. So a generous pinch of white pepper. We'll give that a shake. Perfect. Now we're ready to go. So just before we start frying, we need to make this delicious accompaniment, which is our crushed peas. I've just blanched some peas in some boiling water, some rapidly boiling water. I've added the peas. As soon as it starts to come back up to the boil, I've removed them and drained them. They're still warm at this stage, which is completely fine. And it's as easy as adding some peas just to a jug like this. You can do this in a mortar and pestle if you like, but I'm going to use my hand blender. I'll also add another pinch of white pepper and some salt, some lemon zest that I'll finally grate directly into the jug. And we'll need the juice of half a lemon. We'll squeeze that in there. And then peas and mint, they go so well together, so I'll add a few sprigs of mint and I'll reserve some for the garnish later on. This is a really great side to go with these fried prawns because it really freshens up the entire dish. Now, to bring it together, a tablespoon of creme fraiche. I like to use creme fraiche because it's light and tangy. And I also need some olive oil. Now I'm going to use a medium-bodied olive oil so we get those beautiful grassy tones. So just a small amount, about a tablespoon. And now with my stick blender, I'm just going to roughly crush these peas and combine it with all of these ingredients. All right, that is it. How gorgeous is that colour? That beautiful pastel green. And you can see there's still a little texture in the peas. Perfect. So that's ready to go. Let's get on to frying. I'll preheat a large pan. You want to give yourself lots of space when you're frying this, and you should do this in batches so the heat of the oil doesn't go down. Now I'm using a light extra virgin olive oil because it has a delicate flavour, so we can really show off the flavour of the prawns. Now I want to shallow fry this, so I'm using a good amount of this olive oil. Essentially you want to cover the base of this pan. So a little more. And that is perfect. Now there's this misconception that you can't fry in olive oil, but you can. In fact, it is a great oil to use for frying because the heat goes up to 200 to 215 degrees. So I want this oil though for my prawns to go to 180, and the best way to test this is just to get some of these breadcrumbs and then drop them into the oil. If you see it start to bubble away around the sides, quite gently, you know that it's ready to go. All right, that is perfect. So let's start crumbing these prawns. So into the flour first, and then shake off the excess flour. Then into our egg mixture, coating all of the flesh. Now I'm holding it on the tail because I don't want any of the crumb to touch it. All I want to do is crumb the flesh. Shake off the excess and then into the crumbs. And that is the first one done. Now I have a plate here, so I'll do a few more of these. They don't take long at all. As soon as they go crispy and golden, they're ready to come out of the oil. Okay, these gorgeous cutlets have come out of the olive oil, so now I'm just seasoning them just lightly with some extra sea salt, and now to plate up. And now a generous amount of this beautiful crushed pea into the center of a bowl. This is such an easy way to make crumb cutlets a little more elegant by adding this pea component. Now for these cutlets, we'll place a few on top. I'm going to say 3 if it's an entree size, and some more peas and a few sprigs of mint. Just these little sprigs are what I'm looking for, and we'll just separate them and just let them drop on top of the cutlets. A squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and then just to finish it off, a good drizzle of Australian extra virgin olive oil so we can really taste it throughout the whole dish. This is a beautiful way of presenting prawns. Great texture, mushy peas, crunchy prawn cutlets, and then that fresh hint of mint. I adore this. I hope you do too.